So it is now a little over a month until the NFL draft is officially upon us. And for the Arizona Cardinals, that's a good thing. It's time for us to actually build our roster, make a few good draft picks, and blah blah blah. Let's rewind though back to the first day of free agency for the Arizona Cardinals. Started off by us releasing our what should have been franchise quarterback in Kyler Murray. Obviously, after 7 years, didn't really work out so well. And I think the majority of that falls upon the Arizona Cardinals not being able to handle their shit and their carelessness with such a unique player. And I mean, I'm not going to make the whole video about that. I can go on and on about it. But the fact of the matter is, Kyler Murray was not treated fairly. I don't think cutting him was the right move. And when I did find out that we were going to release him, the first thought that came into my mind was, okay, we're going to go full rebuild mode. But as free agency progressed, it was quite the opposite. It turned out to be, I mean, I think our first signing was Tyler Algier, and then we made some additions to the O-line. We brought in Kendrick Bourne, and I look at that and I'm like, okay, these are all good signings. You know, when you look back at our season that we just had, it was rough. But then again, when you actually look at it, a lot of those games that we lost, the majority of those games that we lost, were by such narrow margins that we were really a stone's throw away from winning those games, from putting us over the finish line. And you know, I would think that after watching Kyler Murray, you can say anything you want about him. You can throw he's too short, he plays too much video games, he's lazy, not a locker room player, whatever. You can throw all that at me. You're not going to convince me that he's not a unique and superb athlete. That, I mean, we don't see many players like him. And that's not even being biased. That's true. This is true. Kyler Murray is an insanely talented player. And, you know, I would think that after these 7 years, he did deserve one more year. I mean, he was still under contract. We have to eat his contract, and then what? You know, we take the hit from releasing him, and then we go out and pay top dollar for another quarterback. Obviously, we didn't get Malik Willis, which I think is a good thing. But, you know, again, you release Kyler Murray, and then I hear names like Jimmy Garoppolo. I hear names like Derek Carr, who's retired. To me, it's just, the whole thing they're lost. They're lost. I feel like the Arizona Cardinals right now are still currently lost in the way they want to run things, because you can't put all the blame on Kyler Murray. It's just not a fair argument, and he's been dealt such a shitty hand in his tenure with Arizona. I mean, I'm not gonna sit and say he was always 100%, but again, he did enough to deserve that one more year for the Arizona Cardinals. And then you want to go find another quarterback? Okay, go find another quarterback. But this year was the weakest year to find a quarterback. No talent in free agency, no talent in the draft besides Mendoza. And obviously we're not going to trade up to the number 1 overall pick to get Francis Mendoza. And that leaves us to, which I think is a good position, best player available in the draft. I look at our team and the Jeremiah Love, that went by the wayside real quick. You know, for a minute there, it started to heat up, and then once we signed Algier and brought back Connor, that went out the window. But now we're back to square one, which is best player available. Obviously, offensive line is there, and I think this year is a great year for offensive linemen anywhere you go. I mean, there could be 3 or 4 offensive linemen picked in the first round this year. So this is a good year to do that. And it's just a good thing in general. It's a safe pick, and it's something we've had very little of over the past few years. We drafted Paris Johnson. I think Paris Johnson he's good. But other than that, we have not tended to our offensive line, which again is one of the reasons why we have not performed that well and somehow we put the blame all on Kyler Murray. Doesn't make any sense to me. But again, it baffles me why we would go into a quarterback search this year. Jacoby Brissett, it seems like the way things are going, and I think all the reports have kind of confirmed this, he's going to be our starting quarterback from now on, which is like, I'm not upset with that. People are upset with that, but it's like, what did you expect? All these guys who were calling for Kyler Murray's head, once they heard the news that Jacoby Brissett was gone, they were like, oh, we're not going to go out and get a quarterback. We're not going to get a quarterback. What did you think? This is the worst year to go and look for a quarterback. These guys are lost. They have no idea what they're talking about. These idiot fans like that. It's a joke. It's stupid. But again, when you look back at our free agency, we had solid signings. I mean, we're not even done yet. We did lose Greg Dortch, I think, yesterday or Wednesday, I forget, which was, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, oh, the Cardinals, everyone's Greg Dortch was a fan favorite, I guess, apparently, all of a sudden now that he's with Detroit. I wouldn't consider that a huge blow. Like, I wouldn't consider that a really big loss for the Arizona Cardinals. He had his moments, but for the good portion of his time, he was just kind of there. I don't think he was really utilized properly. He did come together towards the end of the year this year, which was a good thing. I think the only thing that offsets what could have been there for Greg Dortch is that he wasn't going to be a top-paid receiver anyway. I don't like the prospect, though, of bringing in Kendrick Bourne and then getting rid of Greg Dortch. I don't like that. I still think, even with Michael Wilson, even with Marvin Harrison, especially with Marvin Harrison, that we lack desperately receiver help, and which could also be another direction we go in the draft. I mean, there is some good receivers, and that it's things like that where if you're going to be in a rebuild anyway, if you're going to roll out with Jacoby Brissett next year, you're not going to be looking at a very high season. It's going to be similar, tantamount to what we had this year. And on a situation like that, we're picking at 3. You can stay at 3, draft the best guy available, or you can trade back and accumulate more picks and still get. I mean, despite the fact that there's no quarterbacks in this class, don't even bring up Ty Simpson, because that's out of the question. If the Cardinals go that route, I don't know. But this is a loaded talent class. There's a lot of talent in this draft class, and trading back wouldn't hurt. I think we need more picks. Those picks can be utilized in next year's draft, in this draft, or we can offload those picks and go get some talent, which that's kind of the route. I compare, or I kind of look at what the Bears did last year. Because I'm partial to the Bears, because most of my family's from LaPorte, Indiana, and they grew up as Chicago Bears fans. It's 30 minutes away, and I look at that, what they did. They drafted Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, he had a rough year his first year. I remember the Cardinals playing him. I was at that game, and we ate him alive. But did they trade him? Did they cut him? Did they say, oh, he's too lazy, or he paints his nails, or whatever? And did they give him the Kyler Murray treatment? I don't think so. They drafted him to be his franchise quarterback, and they treated him like a franchise quarterback, which is something Kyler Murray never got. But look at what the Bears did. They said, okay, obviously we're not going to give up on this kid after the first year or two. So what did they do? They went out, they traded back from the first overall. Got DJ Moore, got draft picks. And then they used those draft picks. It's like, okay, we're going to build the offensive line. They went out and made trades, they made moves, and look at where they are now. And I just wish the Cardinals would do that. I wish that would register in their mind and saying, okay, this is not a, you know, this is not a Kyler Murray issue. This is not a quarterback issue. Because right now, let's say we got rid of Kyler Murray and we brought in Joe Burrow. It's not going to do jack shit because our team is terrible. We have nothing surrounding. I don't care if prime Tom Brady came in. We have nothing to offer him. So, again, how you put all the blame on Kyler Murray baffles me. It's insane. But, I mean, there is so many routes we can take in this draft. I think there's no room for us to get aggressive or anything like that. We're just gonna have to wait and see. I think the safest pick would be offensive line. Obviously, that's always the safest pick, and this year is a great year to do it. Because this is all, there are also a bunch of stud defensive players that are projected to go right where we are, number 3. Reese and Ruben Rain, all those guys. They all great talent. Do we really need them though? Like, do we really need to draft them? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that a must priority? Now, after I saw Reese, what did he run at the combine? What was it, a 4.40? That did kind of like, okay, maybe this guy's gonna be a fucking monster, which I wouldn't mind having. But at the end of the day, it's like, and I love Jeremiah Love. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I kind of use the same philosophy. I would love to see him on the Cardinals, but at the end of the day, do we really need him? Even before we got Tyler Algier, is that really going to help our team? It all depends. I don't know what Monty Ossenford and the front office got going on. They still got a month left to figure things out. But I guess we'll see. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on it. I mean, I'm not hearing any fan favorites. It's kind of all mixed between offensive line, defense, trading back, whatever. So, yeah, we still got plenty of time left, plenty of content that's gonna come our way, and I guess we're just gonna have to see.